Apologies for us being late. We're going to start our Penn Trafford School District meeting, information meeting for Monday, June 8th, with the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Dr. Harris, while I fumble around my papers, please proceed with, your...
Absolutely. Dr. Nix and I are going to do the presentation together, but we have our retirement. Six of the most happiest people in the room right now are here tonight. Each of us is a cake. So do that, it'll be great, because I know a lot of the teachers, everyone go off for breakfast or something, but I don't know. Go off for that breakfast or something. And we've always done coffee. Thank you. You all have local restaurants. Gave the talk, and for years and years I said, you give a talk and group of people feel don't have to be on time anymore. And I hope you're here. I'm going to have something nice to say what you do, and see if you can help you as well. It's a long road. I mean, together with 10 people, we probably have over 341 years service. And most of that service was with 10 and every one of you here, finished your service.
Okay, first we have Mick Budaj. Come on up. Mick was inspired early on by his parents, both of whom were educators. The decision to follow in their footsteps was natural because he enjoyed working with children and recognized the need for strong male role models in their lives. He holds a bachelor's degree from Slippery Rock. 34 of his 35 years as a teacher were spent at Penn Trafford, and 33 of those years were at Trafford Elementary School. Throughout his career, he witnessed tremendous changes in education, particularly in technology. He recalls a time when a single computer sat in the back of the classroom for student use, followed by the introduction of teacher desktop computers, and eventually the transition to one-on-one laptops for both students and staff. Among Mick's favorite memories are the annual Monarch Butterfly projects he shared with his students. Congratulations.
Mick also served as head teacher of Trafford Elementary. How many years?
Oh, about 17, 18 years there.
Over half your career.
Yeah.
Because as teacher, you did a remarkable job. And to be honest, a lot of the times you were without a principal, and you were serving in both roles as teacher and principal. You did an excellent job. And that was really what are you going to miss the most? And we went out, and now you did a question. Start thinking.
He's going to miss the school board. You mentioned the staff. It's going to be that. Like, I think we're pretty good to go with what to do next. There's always stuff to do. It's not seeing the people that you work with for 35 years. They're going to still see each other, but I won't be there. So that's probably going to be what I miss: the colleagues, the kids, but really the staff. Good, great staff.
One story you remember forever? That you can share. You are being televised.
I mean, I getting that playground was big, and
you were on that committee for that. How much did you end up raising altogether?
it was over 250,000, I think. The cost was ridiculous, but it took years to get all the funding done for that. But we needed that.
Can you get the mic? Put it on here. There you go. Thank you.
So we got a playground down there. It was really nice. We needed that. And I'll remember that. And the awning, got that awning down there too.
You spearheaded that awning. You absolutely did. You should really name that awning after you. A couple of years in a row, you fought for that awning.
Yeah.
And one year, we finally, you said, okay.
Yep.
We had the funds and came up with the best scenario, and we got it, so.
Yeah, and I can't really think of one particular moment, just there was just a whirlwind of, I will say I enjoyed my time. I was fortunate enough to work in a good district and never was, oh, I gotta go to work, oh, it's gonna be Monday, like that those thoughts never came in my head. I was always eager to go back in the fall and ready for Mondays, so that says something that, I never dreaded going to work. It really wasn't work, it was more, it was good fun, good times. I miss that part too, but it's good. It's good. Feels to get to the end too. So.
Your daughter's son, she's a speech pathologist.
So ironically, at a school board meeting right now in New Philadelphia, Ohio, they're announcing her as a permanent hiree.
Congratulations.
So it's kind of ironic that school board meeting and this school board meeting at the same time. I'm retiring and she's getting hired. So we have all that stuff to look forward to. So thank you very much.
And good luck. Your dad was awesome. He's amazing. So, if you follow in his footsteps, you will be amazing as well. And I'm sure you will, because you had a great role model.
Thank you
Great
very
man.
much. I appreciate that.
Absolutely. And all right, thanks.
Okay, up next, we have Mike Cleland. Mike credits his fifth grade teacher at Trafford Elementary, Mr. Stanley, for inspiring him to become a teacher himself. Mike earned a bachelor's degree in special education and elementary education from Slippery Rock University and spent his entire career serving students at Trafford Elementary and middle schools. Throughout the years, he found joy in the unpredictability of teaching, appreciating that no 2 days in the classroom were ever the same. Mike is most proud of helping students with disabilities learn, grow, and develop the skills needed to become successful adults. Congratulations.
A lot of people come into special education, they take a job, they jump out. How many years were you in special education?
33 here, 37.
Overall, he has never left. And I give him great consideration for that, and admiration, because that is a very hard field. And you are needed, or so needed. Your experience really shows, made a difference. You have touched numerous amount of kids, the amount of kids you have served. Sometimes we had 2 buildings, sometimes we had 1, but you've always made it work. So everything you've done, and now you're also staying on as a softball coach.
Oh, yeah. For
So
sure.
we're not going to we're going to still see you. And your wife still teaches, so.
She does.
She's on her own payroll. And your daughter teaches where?
Over in Norman.
Over in Norway.
Same thing I do.
Special education.
Yes.
Okay. Practice twice everything. She was actually a good person to watch too. I'm glad although she's wearing a different color. Well, it's kind of nice to see their teachers and public teachers that are in the ministry. So, we're proud. What are you going to miss the most?
I'll tell you what I'm not going to miss.
Hold the camera.
No offense to this, but all the paperwork that's involved is very time consuming and it's very, it's needed for the job, which I understand. But it takes a lot of time, a lot of effort, a lot of researching back and so on and so forth. But that, in fact, helps you to learn your kids, which is something I don't remember. Probably the biggest thing is when you see the kids after they've graduated high school and college, and you see them out in the community when they approach you, and, hey, Mr. Leland, how's it going? So they don't shy away, they still come back, and they say hi. They're not afraid to say hi, so that means a lot. I do want to give Nick some credit. So in 1976, we moved to Penn Trafford. And at the time, I really didn't know what I was going to do. And so we happened to move into Bellwoods, which is the same neighborhood Nick was in, and actually next door neighbors. So spent a lot of time with Nick. We did a lot of things over the summer together.
Did you work for him moving trucks?
Yes, I did. We went on the road together.
Training ground for our teachers.
You're right. We
You
went
gotta put
on
the
road
microphone
together.
up, they wanna
Chop,
hear
what did you
it,
get?
that microphone. Don't wanna miss what
Went
you're
on the
saying.
road. It's
Perfect.
It's on.
Is it? Okay. So we went on the road together. Taught me a lot of valuable skills in the moving business, which even up till last summer, I was doing that a little bit. But Nick, you know, in that time in the truck cruising down the road, I don't know what I want to do. And he said, why don't you be a special ed teacher? Because that's what he was at Norwin. So I said, yeah, why not? Give it a shot. So I went on to Slippery Rock, was only going to go elementary. Once again, went home for the summer. He goes, get your other degree too. You may, you know, make yourself more marketable. So Nick was a big inspiration on guiding me to where I'm at now, and I appreciate that, Nick.
Nick, how long were you a special education teacher? You
36.
You lasted all 36 too,
Yeah.
in the one. It's a rare, like I said, it's, you know,
He's also the, Mike is the, my five grandchildren, he's also the godfather of my grandson who plays football at Case Western. He's again, him and my son were close friends. Good, yeah, they got along very, very well. He was, his whole family, his mom and dad and brother and sister, they were all, we had a very nice neighborhood. We had Lamont and Peggy Moore on the other side. You remember Peggy Moore, if you could recall her? Yeah, but she was on the other side.
Not just mine.
Yeah. Hey, Mike, if you can't fix that, so don't break. Yeah. But no, Michael was also an excellent worker. The only thing he didn't do to follow me is I wanted him to drive. And he didn't want to drive. He was satisfied with laboring, but he would have been he could equal me with driving over long distance and also making a nice buck from the summertime. But he still made good money. He did real good.
Mike's not afraid of hustle.
Yeah, he did real good.
He works a couple sides. A lot of great work. Thank you so much. You.
Well, I should tell you how we hired him, though, too. You forgot this part, Mike, is that Debbie Clooney was looking for a special education teacher. And I just told her that, I says, and he just came down, you come down and see Nooch or something, I don't know what you came to the front porch. And he was there, and Debbie said, I said, how about a male? I said, you know, when hiring all these females, you know how I feel about hiring male teachers, because they help with discipline, especially in the senior high and middle school. And I says, I have my next door neighbor. I said, hell of a kid. I says, you gotta give him a shot. And she says, okay. And he comes down. I don't know how that time worked. I says, Mike, and I says, I think you just got hired. And we talked about 2 months ago or 3 months ago. I says, you got hired from my front porch. And then he says, I do remember that now. I said, no, he's been a great hire.
I'll start by saying that was 34 years ago.
Yeah.
That was a different practice, but it was very good. Glad it worked out. I'm very happy.
Okay, we'll give Mr. McCracken a second here. Wonderful. Okay. Up next, we have Mr. Tom Monzo. Tom began his career at Penn Trafford in 1993. Throughout his tenure, he taught at Trafford Elementary School, Sunrise Elementary, Penn Middle School, and most recently, Level Green Elementary School, leaving a positive impact on countless students and families. He holds an associate degree in liberal arts from the Community College of Allegheny County, a bachelor's degree in elementary education from California University of Pennsylvania, and a master's degree in education from Indiana University of Pennsylvania. When asked why he chose to become a teacher, Tom shared a belief that guided his career. Teaching is the profession that creates all other professions. To me, there's no more important job in the world. That's amazing. Wow. Congratulations.
He's very proud of it. He goes on a summer vacation, spring, and it's like,
education classes for teachers, Act 48 classes. Governor Tom Ridge came out with Act 48. I just became certified, so it was a perfect time. 20 years part-time.
20 years, like I said, you also during the 30-some years, you also worked at the YMCA, and where else? You had a couple.
Emergency medical.
Emergency medical, which is what you're going to now. You might be showing up in your house, totally not. Rescue 6. So you will be doing that, and I do give you a lot of credit for your deputy work. I know after Grant, we're very happy to go on. He definitely needs you, and Tom is a helper. He doesn't do anything that doesn't involve helping people. Think about the why, about the university, about the teaching, about helping anybody. He is not afraid to give himself, give up his time, himself, and help anybody in need. And really taking care of lower grading, all the different grants you got for fish pond, all the different outside. During the winter holiday, the winter snowstorm, everyone, we went to every school. And when I got there, Tom Onzo was one of the only teachers working, even though it was online, he was there because he was worried about the pond, he was worried about the fish in the building, and the animals. He made it in, and I already think that we're not afraid of him. Tom, you're definitely missed. Now, what is your favorite? What are you gonna miss the most?
I'm gonna miss riding to work with my daughter, who was hired as a teacher at Level Green. We've been riding to work together since she was in kindergarten.
That was a long time.
Very, very long. Sure, you're gonna miss that.
And I'll also miss the glory years of seeing my son be a captain on the football team for Penn Trafford. And he's on the verge of becoming a captain in the United States Army.
Tom's about to go to Hawaii for how many different times now?
This will be third time.
This is the third time, and I'm very proud of you too. I've been him for a long time, so I like systems and everything. So very proud of him, and of course your daughter's Ashley, she's the level grade. She's subbed for many years, and she's been absolutely like it. And she's been special ed. She's done an excellent job. Tom's very proud, because you always say things they used to say about you, and now saying about your daughter Ashley.
And they're saying I'm more. I don't look for compliments, they come to me first, but that's one of the things I'll miss the most. I'm sure I'll still be hearing it, just maybe not on a daily basis.
And your best moment.
Well, Mr. Petrucci, you might remember this, and Mr. Budosh, 1993, we built a greenhouse in Trafford and involved the whole community and raised a lot of money, and I really think that helped propel me in getting a full-time teaching job. And I had some cutting technology back then, making a video on VHS tape. The guy did my
That was high tech at one point.
the guy that did my wedding video that had some Kenny G music, and I really think that might have been the deciding factor. He didn't play with Penn Trafford, so I do thank Mr. Petrucci. I know he's very instrumental in getting me hired back then. It's always good to see him around.
You did a good job, Tom.
Thank you.
And you have earned this. I know that you're kind of sad to see yourself go. Because it's time. You're 35. But I know you can go on forever. I can see that. I can see that in your life. And you will be missed. And you can always sub.
I see him.
Absolutely.
Up next, we have Miss Carol Palmer. Oh, is she not here?
Guess what? The school board members, we get to wrap off the cake.
Okay.
Hi, Spitter.
Carol, just quick shout out, one of our high school teachers. Going to be very missed deeply. Worked great for us and everything, so I do appreciate it. But I hear tonight, get it?
Okay, next we
Hold
have.
on a second, Tiff.
Yeah.
Even though she's not here, you can still read it.
Okay, we have more. I could read them all. Carol spent several years working in the business world before eventually following the advice of one of her own high school teachers who had suggested she pursue a career as a business educator. She earned degrees from WCCC, Indiana University of Pennsylvania, and Seton Hill University. Carol joined the Penn Trafford School District in 1994 and spent all but 2 of the ensuing years teaching at Penn Trafford High School. One of her most rewarding aspects of teaching has been hearing from former students who reach out to share updates about their careers and how the skills they gained in her Microsoft Office classes continue to benefit them in the workplace years later. So congratulations to Carol.
Carol is gonna stop because she already got all the paperwork.
Oh, that's great.
So we will be seeing her.
Thank you, Tiffany.
Thank you. Okay, up next, we have Mrs. Tamara Patula. Tamara has dedicated more than 3 decades to the students of Penn Trafford, focusing on the importance of reading, both as critical life skill and a lifelong passion. She earned both bachelor's and master's degrees in elementary education at Pitt and certification as a K-12 principal at Cal U. But her passion remained in the classroom, where she chose to spend her entire career as a teacher after joining the district in 1994. For the majority of her tenure, Tamara taught at McCullough before moving to Trafford Elementary School for her final years. Reflecting on her career, she noted well that technology, inclusivity, and social emotional learning have transformed education, the importance of strong relationships and believing in every child has remained constant. Teaching continues to be both a challenge and a privilege, and I feel fortunate to have been part of this profession for more than 3 decades. Congratulations, Tamara.
Research and education, that's something in professional development you always want. You got your master's, and you also got your principal papers, but you always want to remain in the classroom. And you always, no matter what year you were teaching, you always went back for more, and you wasn't afraid to read, put your whole soul into it. The kids, very lucky to have, very, really, especially your kindergarten years, both Colin said, the hard years go, and you're a half day, and you have to learn a lot. But she made them learn. She made them learn a lot, especially. She was good. She was very good, and you're very passionate about what you're doing. And you have to be. See, that's your first chance kids have learning and being successful. And you establish a good routine at the beginning, and that routine carries kids next 12 years of their career, and even longer, because how long some of them take. Now, both your kids didn't go into education. So they did
No,
not.
no. My daughter went through Penn Trafford, and my son, substation science engineer in Chicago, and my son is in Dallas.
Both very successful. They were both very good students here. Absolutely. What are you gonna miss the most?
There's so much in there. You know, over the years, I've had so many different experiences, you know, that I missed because I had to give those up. Dear back, cheerleading with me years ago, working again both as a student and the drawing. I love children. So I love the district. It is so impactful on children. I just miss the teachers that I work with. I loved my teachers, both at Level Green, and Trafford, you know, down to Trafford, and the other people that I have opportunities to work with. Just been a wonderful ride. An easy one.
Yeah.
It has been a wonderful ride. I'm grateful. Nothing. I earned a position here. I didn't know anybody, and I was very fortunate. It was a very saturated.
Very tough, and it's still tough. People come and say what you have to do, and you have to sub, you have to be a super sub, you have to be an SLA, then you have to have the right moment. It's a process, it's not easy. And I always survive, but then if you go across the state or grow across the city, you get hired over the phone. Online. I taught in 8 years in DC, came back, Catholic school principal, jobs and years. No. I was hired over the phone, and I was hired after one interview for big jobs for the first 15 years. I through with you. Just put out.
And teaching K.
Your favorite story?
I don't know.
Well reserved.
There's a lot of good stories though out there,
Yeah.
especially Deer Valley ones.
You're always good. We're passionate about that. We appreciate it. Keeping you.
certainly not least, absolutely not least, Jim Simpson. Jim dedicated his career to helping students become the very best versions of themselves. He attended IUP and the University of Pittsburgh, earning a degree in secondary mathematics and a certification as a K-12 principal. Jim joined the Penn Trafford School District in 1999 and served in a variety of leadership and educational roles throughout his tenure at Penn Middle School, Trafford Middle School, and Penn Trafford High School. Among his many accomplishments, he considers being named principal of Penn Middle School in 2008 to be the proudest professional achievement. So thank you, Jim. Congratulations.
Jim's data, curricular knowledge, leadership skills were impeccable. I can also say behind all of that, his work ethic drove every one of them. Because Jim is not afraid to work, he is not afraid to hustle, he is not afraid to put the hours in. I would go by Penn Middle so many times on a Sunday night, his office light would be open. He would be the first to call in the morning if something was wrong, and he would be last to call during the day if something. He is not afraid to work. If there was a parent, even though I know that, I would call Jim and say, well, Jim, what should I do? And he would never care what time of day it was. He really put a great deal of his time, his energy, and his wife's probably saying, yeah, what I did. Into that job, and he did. And he cared about every single account. And that's why he always gave them extra. He did a lot of investigating, a lot of research, a lot of input before he made a decision. He was not going to just make something on the spot because he really cared about the kid and he wanted to make the right decision. But all of that together, he was also a professor at St. Vincent's for how many years?
7.
Are you still working?
No, that didn't fit with where I wanted to go.
So you retired from here and St. Vincent's?
Yeah, we kind of, well, I don't know. I think they started now and said, hey, we're shrinking our staff. So I think I kind of got laid off. That's the first job I ever got fired from. I know, right? You were aware of it. So sorry. No, it was good. It was not good cards anyway. Thank you for saying that.
And what are you doing now?
A little bit of this, some educational consulting. And there's opportunities there, but it's got to be the right one. So I'm able to pick and choose things I want to do. Mostly tutoring. I've done like if you can do high-level math tutoring, there you can go on for an hour and it's nice and talk. I had to bust out my old calc book, but it's really nice. And is that something I'm missing? Is people. By the way, I had the opportunity to work with Tamara. Her children went to my building, but that's what it's about. Our kids and these people here, and that made my job easy. The teachers I had to work with, and spectacular. I can't say enough. I appreciate your words, Dr. Harris. We've logged a lot of time, and a lot of people in the room, everybody here, and hopefully it's all been good times. And any negative experiences with me, I apologize up front. But just being me.
And you have a lot of energy. You have a lot of high energy. Is he still, even now that he's retired?
Still gets in all his stuff.
Still sounds And Jim also is fortunate enough, and we're fortunate enough, that we have his daughter Tori working for the district. Has your dad's knowledge of data and curriculum?
Yeah, she's smart. She probably is.
So what is your biggest, best story you're going to share with us?
I don't want to bring it on down, but at Penn Middle School, I lost 2 staff members and a student while I was there. And we are at our best as a board, as administration, teachers, when times are at their worst. You really are. You think about some of the toughest times. We've had numerous conversations, you and I, and COVID was really tough on everybody, and different times. I don't want to start mentioning times that Penn Middle School's mentioned on that, WTAE and KDKA. There might have been a shoe incident in there, but those kind of times, it was just the daily charge. I do miss that of you are harnessing and controlling that which can't be controlled. You know what I mean? 600 kids, 40 teachers. There's going to be bumps in the road. I miss that energy. I do miss that. But I don't miss some of the calls. I don't miss the safe to says. It's a word we don't use in our house anymore, safe to say. But all good. I really I want to thank everybody here for the opportunity. Again, I didn't mean to bring it downer, but again, when things are tough, and that's when we come together and we're at our best. I do want to thank Dr. Joe Marassi Sr., Dr. Debbie Coloni, who really gave me my start. But it's been great working with you. You've always treated me as a professional colleague, everybody here. It's been a great ride, but it was time.
And when you say we're at our best sometimes when we have to, think about it. All of us became educators and people who work with kids and school board members. We all have one thing in common. We love kids. We love helping people. Why else would we be doing this? And sometimes we forget to do about our routines and everything. But when the tragedy comes and when the kid needs help and there's something going on, we rise. We come out. And as much as we disagree sometimes with people, we've had some of our best conversations with our colleagues who ever helped us. That's just what we do best. You know, and I leave on that note, so thank you. Give me way in. Every one of you deserve retirement because you put everyone else first. You really rose to the occasion when you need not easy. Someone who lost all the years of Catholic, what we do is I started before most of you, but I'm okay. Not long. You're always your first day of school, enjoy your piece of cake, think about the rest of us, and remember, each and every day, find something to laugh about. If you're not laughing, you're going to be crying. And there's no need to cry. I'm with the thank you for all you do. Thank you very much. You're more than welcome to stay for the rest of the
Hold on, Matt, aren't you gonna get a picture?
Yes, I do need a picture. I promise. I was just going to jump up and grab them.
It's
So
okay.
thank you. I appreciate that.
Give me your phone number.
Jim, enjoy every second. Enjoy.
I looked around. Oh, yeah, all the time. Oh, were you? Yeah, I need to ride on that.
Likewise. Enjoy every second. My pleasure.
No, Skeens isn't scheduled till tomorrow. Is it tonight or tomorrow night? Tonight? Oh, I thought it was tomorrow night.
I thought they were gonna go against each other, but it didn't work out.
You know, I hope he works out.
Oh, we're gonna have to move anyhow, but we'll wait till she does that. And then Lou's gonna do the.
Okay, we're gonna do the roll call. Mrs. Issing?
We're gonna do the roll call vote, because there is a voting for tonight, so, Mrs. Issing?
Yeah,
Here.
Dr. Klein?
Present.
Mr. Kachasik?
Here.
Dr. Koshko?
Here.
Mr. Leonard?
Here.
Mr. Matarazzo?
Here.
Mr. Nemec?
Here.
Mr. Otto?
Here.
Mr. Petrucci?
Here.
President, we have a quorum.
Thank you.
And then we had,
No, he doesn't.
Mr. Matarazzo, did you have anything for the special reports for CWCTC?
I'll keep it real brief. For the meeting I just had last Thursday, we have the CTC, formerly VOTEC, we're up to over 1,500 students. We're growing exponentially. In fact, we had 800 applicants for 600 positions. There's people that want to get in. They're actually adding a new building for power lines. We have 19 courses going on. Just example, electrician, occupational technology, health occupation, HVAC and steam fitting. There's a lot of opportunities there. And the other issue was approximately 85% of the kids, when they leave VOTEC, approximately 60% of the kids already have a job. And out of that 60, then there's another about 20% that are going on to further education. Then another 5% are going into the military. So people that are leaving with something to do. It's not wasted time. And we report to the school because, you know, we do pay about $6,900. I know administrators, you might know if the cost has gone up. But we have 120, I think we're up to almost 130 kids from PT right now going to VOTEC. So it's a part of our budget. It is a big part. And we're encouraging it, not discouraging it. So it's cost us more this year than it did last year because we had more students going. And I'm saying I applaud it because I'm happy that we do. Thank you.
Our budget, I mean, I 100% agree with you. We applaud it. We did have a $190,000 increase in our budget because we had so many more kids. And but we do applaud them going, but it does impact somewhat those things.
We did have an executive session prior to this meeting at 5:15 to receive information on personnel.
And under
information, Dr. Harris.
information, we did the retirements already, but we are also going to have a presentation by our new business manager, and she's been doing several of these this year, Rebecca Rodriguez, and I know I have to move because the screen's right behind me, so.
I'm not any of your guys' way.
Don't lie, Lou.
I have it on my screen, so I'm good.
All right.
Yeah, and you all have the handout in front of you as well. But thank you for your time and attention. Just a little bit new, but this is the proposed final budget for our school district. And I want to thank you for your time and patience as we work through this process together. But as you can see, the proposed final budget expenditure number is $71,635,881 for the 26-27 school year. The first couple slides are just a repeat, and again, good news, great news. We have a great report card. We are first academically in the county, as a reminder, top 3% in the state achievement, and we are the second lowest spend per pupil in the county. And we deliver effective, efficient, quality education. Our millage rate is the 7th lowest of the 19 districts in Westmoreland County. And we have 3,887 students that we're financially responsible for. The next page is just a reminder about the school code chart of accounts. So when you're looking over things, it's just a layout of the function code and what they mean, versus instructional versus building purchases, and then the object codes from 100 to 900 is your salaries, benefits, and other things. So that's just a reminder for you. Our budget timeline, we are still on track and on time. The STAR identifies today, June 8th, 2026. We are here. and we are 1 week away from approving our final budget adoption for the 26-27 school year. And then in the next slide, just a reminder about the process that I used with administration to get through this first budget here. Reviewed 3 to 5 years of actual spend per category for both revenues and expenditures to identify the trends proposed for the budgeted amounts across all the categories, and then aligned our budgeted expenses with pursuant to the chart of accounts for where we're actually spending the funds. Our salaries and benefits are contracted at 74% of the budget. Our building supplies budgets have been held flat, and our state mandates continue to be curriculum, special ed, security, cyber charter, and increases in those categories have come through based on the students we have and the needs that we have in our operation budget. So the next slide in front of you is our deficit reduction since we last spoke and since I last presented on May 4th. So our deficit initially started at 1.584 million, and it has decreased 631,862. So the slide, or on the left-hand side of the chart, shows you the progression from the 1.5 where we started down to the current deficit of $953,036. And then on the other side, it shows you the revenues increased 334,000, and then you can see the expenditures. The yellow of the 71,932 is where we started, and we're down to 71,635,881. And that's a decrease of $297.28 since May 4th, and those were the cuts that Dr. Harris proposed, and we discussed and made cuts to the budget from the May 11th meeting. So then the next slide just shows you the budget deficit progression. As I stated, we were at 1.584 down to 953,036. The increase in the revenues of 334,000 were the assessed property values based on current millage and based on the stead market values in the state system. And then the expense decreases totaled $297,028, and those decreases were from a retirement and resignation, and then also further expenditure cuts, which is eliminating 2 bus runs, and then we reduced some purchased services. So the next slide takes you through the revenues. So our local revenues increased $349,606, and that was again in the property assessed value per the state system resulted in this increase. And then the state and federal decreased by $14,772. The decrease is the offset in retirement and Social Security subsidy due to the retirement and resignation replacement, because when we remove the expense, we also have to remove the revenue subsidy side of that expense. So that is the net. There was no change in the other revenue category. It's still at $280,000. And that's a reminder for you, that is where the admin lease building rental is structured in our revenue. So then we'll talk about a little bit further about the expenditures. So the breakdown of the $297,028, the retirement and resignation not replacing equaled $125,742. Eliminating 2 bus runs saves us $116,364. And then we reduced purchase services from St. Vincent and Adelphi, and those 2 total $54,922. Out of that $54,000, about $34,000 of it is Adelphi services, and the rest was St. Vincent. So those cuts were made to the purchase services in those respective categories. So then next, the summary of revenues and expenditures. So the new proposed, the section on the left with prior years is all the same as it was when we presented May 4th. I just updated the category titles for you, the budgeted year, the budgeted expenditures, and then the budgeted revenue surplus or deficit that was passed that year. And then as you can see, the new proposed revenue of $70,682,845 is an increase of $812,650, or 1.16%. And our expenditures are $71,635,881, and that's an increase of 1.681,188, or 2.4%. The revenue total there is without a tax increase. So currently, that shows the deficit of $953,000 that we're going to have to work through as a board to balance our budget to move forward. So then our revenues, the next page will show you the summary. Our local represents almost 39 million. The state is about 31 million. Federal is the same at 573,080. That's our title funding. And then the other category, function 9,000. The 280,000 is where the lease revenue for the admin building is placed. So the grand total of $70,682,845. And then the next slide just shows you what percentage that is. So you can see the local share that we're providing for our expenses is 55%. The state share is 44%. Federal is less than 1%, and our lease revenue factors in, I think, at like 0.12%. So it's factoring at 0%. The next page again goes over the summary of expenditures. The only change in this slide from May 4th is that the cuts that were made, those reductions to expenditures, were hit on the instructional, in the function side and the object side, to now equate to the new math. But we're still at 74% of our total expenditures are salaries and benefits, totaling $53,260,733. And the next slide also is just the reminder of 33% of our budget is for support and 59% is instructional. So those two together are 92% for instructional and support. We're spending 3% of our budget in athletics and extracurricular activities. And then 5% of our budget is in our bond debt service, which is our principal, our interest, and then also the funds that we set aside to transfer to capital projects to do the capital projects that are on the list that the board chooses to do. The next slide, I know it's hard to see and read, but this is just a summary of all of the different function codes from regular programs the whole way down through budgetary reserve. It gives you the actual spend for 24-25, the budgeted expenditures from last year, 25-26, and then the budgeted expenditure proposed for the upcoming 26-27 school year. It gives you the percent of the total expenditure budget, an increase or decrease that has happened resulting in the cuts, the retirements, and then also aligning our spending with the chart of accounts and where we're actually spending the funds. And then it gives you a percent increase or decrease over the prior year. I'll just call out where's it at? So like the VOTEC education, as you can see, the 24-25 budget was $581,000. That's what we actually spent. Our budget this current year was $735,000. Our budget for the upcoming year is up to $926,000, a 1.29% increase over last year, and that is because of the extra students that will be attending there next year. So just a recap of those, not much has changed from the May 4th slide, just the cuts that we discussed, which is the bus being removed, 2 buses, sorry, the retirement resignation not being replaced, and then also the Adelphi and St. Vincent's. So,
Rebecca, I have a question for you. Can you go back to?
Yep.
You may have already stated it, sorry if I didn't hear it. 5,100 debt service,
Yes,
as you can see, it's dropping every year.
yes.
Is the difference between each year, I know you just started this year, is that going into the capital fund for future building
Yeah,
projects?
so.
That's not gonna go in the general fund, right?
No, so if you can see, the fund transfer, function 5,200
Okay,
was at 580,000. It's now budgeted at 736,000. So as the debt has dropped off, I increased the fund transfer to capital projects
you.
and reserve.
okay,
Yeah, so we're still maintaining that level, and that ties into our next slide, so good shout out, yes.
Just under special programs,
Yes,
the increase is 1.3 million from last year.
yes,
Just
so,
curious what's in there that's
so,
almost 10% increase?
so special ed, that is all of our special ed, and I needed to move our cyber charter tuition students back into 1200s. It was in the regular ed section, and then also moving teachers that are actually teaching in special ed. So that's just alignment to where the actual expenditures are. Plus then the increases with their salaries and things like that. But the bulk of that was the cyber charter tuition piece, because it was all under regular. So I needed to sub that out based on actual, where we're spending it. Any other questions before I continue on? Okay, thank you. So that leads us to the next part about considerations and what we need to think about. So, and as Mr. Kachasik said, our debt service. So the current budget reflects a little over 3.3 million, which includes our capital projects. Our adequacy funds, will the state budget pass? And will they increase our adequacy funds $397,000? And then our admin building lease revenue, it's included in the budget as revenue to offset expenditures. So our current fund balance that was audited by the auditor and submitted to the state had us ending last fiscal year, June 30th, 2025, at a little over 6 million, 6,072,105. The maximum unassigned fund balance for per the state is 8%, and based on the expenditures last year, that would be 5,717,556. A goal that I have set for us should be closer to 12%, and that would be 8,576,335. So the next slide, again, is a reminder. Our audited fund balance, the column in yellow, is the beginning fund balance of each year. The column in red is where we ended. And then the blue line that goes up is where we should be, based on our goal of 12%. So as you can see, we've been consistently spending our fund balance, and it's been decreasing, which means our expenditures are more than our revenues over the last 4 years, consistently every year.
Another question, sorry.
Yes,
To get to 12% though, a portion of that would have to be assigned though, would it not?
yes,
Because you're only allowed to get to 8
you're only
unassigned,
allowed 8% unassigned.
which we're over that. So we're meeting that threshold, we're just not meeting the threshold for unassigned, correct?
Correct. Well, so we have that 6 million, and we have our unassigned and assigned budgeted. So you can go over that to commit funds for building projects or one-time purchases. But yes,
Excuse me, in
Yes.
case people are listening, what is a fund balance? What actually is fund balance?
your fund balance is what you have left at the end of your fiscal year, revenues and expenditures.
So it's
what you
basically
have
your
left.
savings account.
It's your savings account. It's what you have left after you pay all of your bills and your liabilities, your assets, and your revenues, and that's what you have left based on once you pay all your bills and get all the money in that's due to you. And that's the snapshot in time every June 30th when we get there, and then we do our closing of the books in July, August, and September, then we work with the auditors in October, and then send it to the state in November.
Gotcha.
So that's our snapshot of time of where we're at.
Thank you.
So it is our savings account, and because you have a savings account, you're fortunate because then you can sustain your summer payroll and benefits and all of your bills, and you don't have to go out and seek funding or loans to pay your bills when you're in that dry area where you don't get your property tax real estate until September, October, and the state funds don't start flowing in until the end of August.
So it's a sign of fiscal responsibility to have a fund balance that can cover catastrophes unexpected.
Yes, yes it is.
Rebecca, can you go to the
Where are we at?
next one there? Does this include the 3.3 from the capital funds? This-
The fund balance,
No, the debt service money that we're moving over for future capital projects.
the debt service of the 3.3 million is part of our expenditures in our budget.
That's going down too.
Well,
You're
we're
just saying the delta.
maintaining it.
Yeah.
It's being moved over, yes.
Gradually.
Is that what you're asking?
Yeah. All good, thank you.
Okay, you're welcome. So then that takes us to the next slide. So based on the current estimate I have for our ending fund balance as of June 30th would be $5.5 million. And my recommendation is, and this recommendation is if we don't raise taxes at all, but based on our current 5.5 million estimate, I'm recommending that we assign 2.78 million of that and then unassigned 2.7 million. The 2.78 million for assigned is specifically for the district's pension liability, a portion of it, healthcare and other post-employment benefits. And that 2.78 number comes specifically from our audit report that shows that is what would be due in 1 year for things that we would have to pay immediately if something catastrophic were to happen. So I felt it was important to assign a number that actually had fidelity based on a real number from our audit, instead of just throwing out 5.5, let's do 3 and 2, or let's do 3.5 and 2. So I wanted to be able to fiscally do that to represent something that is a real number of debt that we owe. Obviously, our pension liability, our healthcare liabilities, and things like that are astronomically larger than 2.7 million, but that is the number based on our audit of what we would owe in 1 year for our bond, our principal, and also our post-employment benefits. So I just wanted to be able to fiscally tie it to a real number, to not just throw out a number, because you could make up any number. Yes.
So I understand you correctly, the 8% that we talked about before, none of that's assigned?
The 8%?
Of the 8%, the 6 million that you referenced earlier?
Yes.
None of that's assigned already?
Well, no, it would be, but it's assigned each budget year, and each
Oh.
budget year is its own budget year.
Understood.
So like last year, Mr. Lago budgeted $4 million as the fund balance, and I believe 2 million was budgeted as assigned and 2 million is unassigned
So you have to reassign it every year?
every year.
Oh, I didn't know. I
Yeah.
thought once we put it in there, it stayed there.
Yeah, so you're
part of the
assigning based
misconception.
on, and you're also assigning based on the flow of that and your board motions. So if you vote as a board to utilize, say you had a roof that you needed to repair, so that it's a moving target, but that's the budget of where you're starting, and you're just telling the state that, especially if you're gonna raise taxes, that you have an assignment for your savings account, that it's not just sitting out there with no purpose. So, and I did give you the definitions based on the code. The assigned fund balance obviously is for specific items that we owe, and then unassigned means this is the spendable resource that is not assigned or restricted. The maximum allowed by the code based on our current expenditure budget is $5,738,870. And that unassigned fund balance, you as a board have full authority over the next year to vote and use that if you would have, a disaster or something happens, or you needed a new, whatever it would be, you would have the authority to use that because it's unassigned. To use any of the assigned money, it would have to fall into the things that are allowable by code.
What percentage are assigned?
So our unassigned, I'd have to do the math, I don't have a calculator right now. But I mean, it's about 50%, 2.7 and 2.7.
Yeah.
So, but I mean, as a percentage of the actual expenditures, I'd have to get my calculator and do it.
But this is within the unassigned. That's all of it every year.
Yeah, it's not the 8%.
Every year you get to
Right.
reshuffle that,
What was it last year?
which is not the way it's
Well, it
done.
was 2 million and 2 million.
We have
And
assigned.
we had almost
This is
70
our
million in
capital
expenditures.
building program.
And this is a what millage increase?
Don't sit in an unsigned.
This is
That is not any mills at all,
no mills at all.
no.
That'll increase, we increase mills.
Correct, yes, so that number will change, dependent upon your vote as a board, for a millage increase, if you choose to do so. But I just wanted to give you, current numbers of where we're currently at, because I did not want to presume or assume what mill you may not want to increase as a board. So that is the number with no increase. Okay? So then the next slide is about our debt maintenance for our current bonds, principal and interest, and then future projects. So I reviewed and researched and spoke with our PNC bond counsel, but our highest level of bond debt, principal and interest that we maintained as a district was $3 million. Our current bond and budget of bond debt capital project transfer, I'm sorry, I'm getting tongue twisted up here, is $3,301,422. So that is the current money as a total that we have set aside in our budget to pay our principal on our bond, our interest on our bonds, and then also about 700, I think it's 736,000 is what is budgeted for capital projects transfer. I maintained our debt service at that 3.3 million by moving that money into capital projects, and you can either transfer it into the capital projects fund to do active projects, or you can transfer it or direct me to transfer it to the capital reserve as a holding spot until we're ready to do another project. So, but those two total the 3.301 million, so we are not losing our debt level. And then if you remember from the information that was shared with us from PNC Bond Counsel from Tony Massidi, if we would need a new bond or want to do new projects, and any of those projects in total, the ceiling that we could comfortably go to with our current budget and revenue scenarios and things that are coming would be a $43 million bond. That would put our debt level at 3.5 million. So we're about $200,000 away from that currently. And it is doable to get there. But just keep in mind, if we would choose to do future bonds around that total, then we would have to cease the capital projects transfer of active projects, and you would have to roll that into your bond. Or you'd have to increase that expenditure line and then have a bigger deficit and raise more money that way. So
That's like about 300K is what you're saying right now?
well, right now we're at 3.3, so we're about $200,000 away from that.
No, I get that point. I'm saying,
I'm sorry.
what are you rolling over into the capital projects? of
Capital projects?
Our current debt that's coming off the books. I
Yes.
thought it's around 300K that we're shedding every year. No?
No, this current year, I'm sorry, I just don't have it memorized.
It's okay.
Okay, so the current year, we dropped 181,868, which was in principal and interest. And I increased our fund transfer to capital project to 156,000. The difference of that of about $20,000 is the difference in the PlanCon subsidy money and revenue that we won't get. So again, if taxes are raised and we have a surplus, then we could take that 20,000 we're losing from our PlanCon revenue and supplement it that way. But still, even with, we're still $301,000 above the debt ceiling that you maintained for your debt. So we're in a good position, and we're in a good position to put ourselves at a 3.5 million debt level, so that depending on what projects you want to do and how you decide to move forward, there is room to do that.
Right, by essentially putting less than $1 million toward future building projects,
Yes.
basically. But what you're saying is if you do that, that sort of reserve that you're putting away for immediate capital projects
Mhm.
isn't included then in that number.
Correct. You would have to increase from there. So if you wanted to, but
But
most
what
of
do
the
you have
time.
sitting in capital outside of the debt?
So right now in cap reserve, you have about $100,000, I think it's about 98,000. And then in capital projects currently, there's, I believe, 732,000-ish.
Yeah.
And then out of that, as a board, you currently approved to use about 500 between the IFAS project, the EFAS project, the Penn Middle cafeteria floor, and then there's one more I'm forgetting. You know what? Looking
There's
at-
three, I think you're right. But anyway, I see what you're saying.
That's the
Which is
total.
totally not connected to the debt service coming off.
No. So the debt service coming down, that 180,000, I increased our capital projects transfer by 150. We're off about 20, but I did it that way because the Plan Con help from the state is going away by that 20,000. So depending on what you vote and do, if we have that surplus, we could as a board say, okay, we wanna add 20 more to that line, and that would make it 3,321 and some change. So but that's
Basically,
the
to
level.
get us
What's that?
to a $43 million project, we need roughly another 200K. Well,
Yes.
really, it's probably like more to 350 because of the money that debt service right now that you're floating in. It goes into capital
Possibly,
projects.
for
Somewhere
your
around that
gross.
number.
Yeah.
But if you did a full mill,
Mhm.
you'd still have money for capital projects, the 700 and change.
Mhm.
It's in there, and you'd have enough to hit your 3.5
Yes.
expense every year,
Mhm.
right? Am I
Yeah,
saying
if
it
you
correctly?
Yeah, if you do the tax increases that you
Right.
need to do,
Yeah,
depending on your goals and where you wanna go.
right.
Becky, if we wanted to mention a new category, new capital improvements only, how would you place that?
So that would just be in capital reserve, and you would just, as a board each year, the only thing you're doing that impacts multiple boards beyond you is if you're doing a bond issue. Every year, you as a board collectively say, we want $300,000 moved to capital reserve, and we're not touching it. But then when the next board comes in, or the next board comes in, the only authority that you have is in that if you do a bond, that's 20 years, 30 years. But as far as, setting aside and earmarking millage, that's not how it works. You have your revenues and expenditures, and whatever you're voting on this year is how it does. But we can put money there and not touch it as a board collectively if that's what you want to do.
Well, then, it would compound then every year, correct?
Yeah, I mean, if you leave it be,
Yeah.
yes.
But the thing, like I learned today, is that every year, assigned and unassigned need to be reforecasted.
Yeah, we go that we go to assign and unsigned, then all of a sudden, a roof repair comes up, $200,000. It goes, okay?
Right.
We asked where it went, that's like we got that $300,000 for the, building.
Yeah.
Okay, then we had to put $400,000 in a tennis court. Okay, so that, that's
Yeah.
why I want something saying only on there, this way we can't put
But it
that
doesn't
money
stay there, is what I'm
in the
saying.
tennis courts.
It won't stay there, though. That's the problem.
But how we did it, now Scott, that's not true, because in the 90s, when we put aside 9 mills in 5 years, we didn't touch it.
Well, because the board at that time decided not to touch it. If the
Well,
board
that-
changes,
Then we had the superintendent also.
yeah, but if the board changes, what she's saying right now, I always thought when it went into assigned, you couldn't touch it. Every year it gets reviewed and
And we used it again in the teens, when we renovated this building again.
No, I agree.
That was the same money.
Becky, am I saying it correctly?
Yeah, the
You
only.
can't leave it in perpetuity there unless
Right.
the board never changes.
Right, and
Well,
because
unless
you,
the new board
or
agrees
if you
to
do
it
a
also.
bond,
Unless the board
if you do
never
a bond
changes
issue
it
for
for
20
all.
Right, it's gotta be in a bond,
years,
right.
that's locking in. Every year when you do a budget, you are deciding on your revenues and expenditures and how you're utilizing them. And, are we gonna have a balanced budget, which I advocate for? Are we gonna have a surplus budget? I advocate for that, because I can tell you, as good as we all are in this room, and the best intentions that we have, the best laid budgets that we have, one student can walk through the door. One roof can blow off. Like, I don't have a crystal ball, so everything I'm giving you is my best educated fiduciary responsibility to communicate factual information in a snapshot in time right now. So it's important that we function in a balanced budget with a surplus, something that we haven't, or I haven't seen it yet, but something I'd like to get us to is, in addition to having a balanced budget, part of our expenditure line also needs to be having a budgetary reserve or a contingency fund as part of your expenditures, so that if you have an expense that comes up, whether it's curriculum, a mandate, a new student that comes in that needs excessive services, you have that, and you're not stealing from anybody else, you're not dipping into your fund balance, you have that little protection, if you will, a contingency fund. But you have your fund balance, you can use it that way as well, but I would like to see us get to a point where we're operating balanced with a surplus, because you all know things are gonna happen. You know, I wish I had better information.
It's facts.
That's the reality.
The board did change stuff, but that 9 mills I mentioned to you before, after 20 years, we renovated this building again, so, and now it's been 10 years since we've done this building. Hard to believe that went so fast. So that means that 9 mills you raised in the 90s is still existing today, because nobody tied into it. You know,
That's
we
right.
could have, when it expired, and after 20 years, or 25 years, oh, you could use this for one of the contracts. But we didn't do that. That's exactly what I wanna do again, especially after the report I've been after this for years, you know that.
Yeah.
In the building report we got today, you know, one thing in particular, which I'm not gonna go public without it. The thing is that, you know, that's how you do it. You don't touch it, and you just let it accumulate.
I agree.
That's what we did, and now it's been 30 years since the 90s we did it, and it still exists. And I wanna continue.
I just thought you could put it into sign, Nick, and leave it. But every year you could, if,
But we don't.
well, I'm saying you can if the board doesn't touch it.
The board leaves it be and agrees we're not gonna touch it.
Right.
Everything that was ever taken out of those assigned funds, we did it. We voted on it, we did it as a group. I was part of that. In hindsight, wish we had all of it.
Well, let's not repeat history, please.
But we're working forward.
Let's not repeat history.
All right, let's move on, please.
Page 21, or slide 21, it's not page 21, because you have I saved some paper and ink and printed it two-sided. So this is just a reminder about the millage rate history of, you know, what was raised and the average yearly taxpayer increase. I do want to highlight and point out that the proposed for this year is 97.87 mils for Westmoreland County, which is 4.12 mils, and the average yearly taxpayer increase is $133.14. That is different and lower than the May 4th presentation, and again, that had to do with the fact that the data that I had was from the old millage assessed mills of 90.75 prior to the increase to the 93.75. So that was my error. So that $66 difference was because I had the wrong millage when I did the calculation. So I do apologize. So the max increase for the average taxpayer in Westmoreland County would result in $133.14 per year, which breaks down to $11.10 per month. And I believe last month when I presented, it was about $199 per year, which was like $16 a month. So that's also good news in the right direction. And that was all out of the software and pulling the numbers from the right place with multi-county, and I've learned a lot.
Well, the one question I got
Yes.
a lot after the last meeting was, what value house is that based on? Do you have any
Yes.
idea?
I do. We'll get there.
It's in
You ready?
paperwork.
It's in
Yeah,
two
because
slides, I
people keep
believe.
telling me, wow, I don't think mine is just going up that little.
All right, so, and then just a reminder, this is just the slide that showed our millage increases, the millage that was available, the mills that weren't raised, and what was left on the table. So the majority of that has been over the last 3 years. And in the Act 1 index we live in, we can't tax our way back out of that. So it's important when we can enact a tax increase to do so. Even if it's just half of the index, 3/4 of the index, but to do nothing or 1 mill or 2 mills is no longer viable with the nature of inflation, aging buildings, mandates from the state, our curriculum needs. It's just no longer affordable to do that unless we're going to make other cuts that don't impact the kids' education. So that was just a
Rebecca,
reminder.
on
Yes.
on this slide, one thing you're not showing is the one thing we trumpet as a district, right, every year is we're the lowest cost spending
Correct.
and love, all that stuff.
Mhm.
It would be nice to see the opposite side of the slide, which would show you if we would have done what you're suggesting,
Yeah.
where we would be at then. We'd probably be 16 out of 17 on school spending
Yeah.
and what, 10?
I
You
can
know what I
bring that
mean?
back to
You
you
see what I'm
next week.
getting at?
Oh, I
There's a balance to what we do here, and this shows
Yes.
one side of the story, but not the other.
Look forward, Phil,
We
not
know the other.
backwards. Look forward, not backwards.
Wait a minute, here, looking forward.
Oh,
There you go.
What is that $11 million again? 11 million?
that was, property, real estate taxes left on the table from not increasing taxes to the Act One index. And that's the cumulative effect of the mills left behind on the table.
For what period of time?
5 years. Okay, so to Tony's question, the next slide shows you the millage impact. So the Westmoreland County portion of our district, the median assessed property value in our county for Penn Trafford is $28,220. And that's an increase of $180 over last year's median assessed property value just for the Westmoreland County homes. So the current year millage, 93.75 mils, is $2,629. And if you go to the 4.12 mils of 97.87, that comes out to $2,762 for that median assessed taxpayer for the year, which is an average annual increase of $133. And $16.88 of that is from the assessed value increase. So if you do nothing at all and don't raise taxes, the average property owner will still see an increase of $16.88 for the year, based on the fact that the median assessed property values increased $180.
Becky, is it, I thought I did this. You can find the assessed value of your house, is that not correct? Can you find that online? How could someone find out even here? I want to see
on
what
your
my
tax-
house is
It's
assessed
on your
at.
It's on your
tax
tax
bill.
statement.
Yeah.
It's on
Go
your
ahead.
property tax bill.
So people can find that out
Yes.
specifically to answer the question that came up.
Yep.
A lot of people don't see their property tax bills held in escrow.
Because it's taken out.
But they never saw the assessed value of their
Taken
house.
out of escrow, yeah.
I always see that.
I'm so curious.
We do,
So
we see
then,
it.
for 26-27, the homestead farmstead exemption is $232.50. That's up a little bit. It was $232.22 last year, so that went up a tiny bit. And then, sorry, and then 1 mil equals $1 of tax per 1,000 of assessed property value. So if you know what your property value is, you can divide that by 1,000 and then times that by the millage, and that's going to be your bill. You can do that based on current and then what the board decides to do.
I believe, if I'm not correct, Rebecca,
Yes.
say I built my house 20 years ago, and Brian here lives in a house 40 years old.
Yeah,
My assessed value on my property is gonna be more accurate than his.
correct, because we haven't been reassessed as a
So
county
I'm just
since
throwing, just so people understand that, if your house is newer, it's gonna be closer to what the true value of the home, of the assessed
But
value
it all
is.
depends, if you put an addition on anything.
No,
that
I get
generates
it,
a
I'm just
permit, then
letting people,
reassess it.
yeah.
Yeah.
If you got a permit.
When you sell your house, it gets reassessed.
Okay.
That's another.
So then, so that's what the impact is for the average taxpayer. I did want to give some educational background on the
Hold on, everybody, listen, please.
Sorry, I know it's boring.
No, this is good. We're getting to
Okay.
the median house.
No, it's boring.
So,
Who said that?
the multi-county rebalancing, I just wanted to give you all some education, because I've learned this as well since we are in a multi-county. So, our ending millage rate in the current budget year for Westmoreland County is 93.75 mils. Allegheny County is 14.39 mils. The starting rates for our counties, Westmoreland stayed the same at 93.75, but if we do nothing at all, Allegheny County's goes down to 13.58, which is a drop of minus 0.81 mils. That is not because of anything you have done. That is because Penn Trafford School District is one of the 78 public school districts in PA that are in 2 counties. The State Tax Equalization Board, or STEB, determines the annual aggregate market value of your taxable real estate property, and then STEB is establishing a common level ratio of assessed value to market value for each county for the prior calendar year. And that information rebalances our millage based on the assessed values of the counties before we do anything at all. So to start this budget process, 93.75 in Westmoreland, and Allegheny sees a decrease of 0.81 mils. And you have nothing to do with that. The starting is based upon the assessed values, the STEB rebalancing, and are not controlled by the Penn Trafford Board of School Directors.
Rebecca?
Yes.
Allegheny County, I think they reassess every 3 years, am I correct about that?
They more recently reassessed, so that,
We haven't reassessed in 72.
yep. Yep, so I just wanted to share that
So
with
that
you.
number will go up probably then on the Allegheny side you're talking. She mentioned.
Yeah, and even if you increase taxes in Westmoreland County to the index of 4.12 mils, Allegheny will still see a decrease in their millage because of how the rebalancing works with STEB. And there's nothing we as a board can do about that. Call your legislators.
And that won't do anything either.
Okay, so then, I gave you average property tax millage rate impacts for Westmoreland County and Allegheny County next. So you can see 97.87 or a 4.12 mil increase is $11.10 a month increase for the average Westmoreland taxpayer. The millage rate in Allegheny County would be 14.18 or minus 0.21, so that would mean a decrease of $1.50 for them per month. And I'm not gonna read them all, you can see them there. I gave you a scenario for 4 mils, 3.5 mils, 3 mils, and 2.5 mils. So if you did 4 mils, $10.81 a month, and 3 mils, $8.46 a month. And then as you can see, the lower the millage, the higher the millage decrease for Allegheny, so they're saving more. So no matter what we do in whatever scenario, Alleghany's will see a decrease because of the step. Okay, grand finale. Thanks for your patience and staying with me so far. Okay, the path to a balanced budget for Penn Trafford School District. We have 2 different scenarios. And I'm gonna start with scenario 1. Our current deficit is $953,036. We as an administrative team, Dr. Harris and Dr. Nix and myself, are recommending a 4.12 mil tax increase. That would create a $423,826 surplus. If you did 3 mils, that would create a $49,511 surplus. The next option to that, if you did 2 mil increase, that would mean $284,066 in cuts. And that would be not replacing one of the teachers that's retiring. It would also mean eliminating 3 student learning assistants and removing 1 more bus run. We've already cut 2, so we would have to cut 1 more. If you do a 1 mil tax increase in this scenario, you would have to also cut $578,754. Those cuts would be everything from the 2 mil, so not replacing the teacher, 3 SLAs, 1 additional bus run, and it would also be 3 more SLAs for a total of 6, not replacing the school psychologist, and then also cutting an additional $7,362 in supplies. So that's scenario 1 with the deficit of $953,036. The second scenario we wanted to make you aware of and present to you is on the next slide, the balanced budget. The deficit could be $556,036. The reason for this is if the state passes the budget and gives us the additional adequacy funds of $397,000, that would decrease our current deficit from $953 down to the $556. So if the state gives us that money, which we won't know until after they pass their budget, a 4.12 mil tax increase would put you at a surplus of $820,826. 1.75 mils would give you a surplus of $28,780. And anything within that range, we could do the math. 1 mil tax increase would mean you would need $181,000 in cuts. That would be not replacing 1 teacher retirement, eliminating 1.5 student learning assistants and reducing supplies. And then no tax increase at all under this scenario is all of the cuts from 1 mil plus 4 more student learning assistants, not replacing the school psychologist, and then reducing additional supplies.
Becky,
Yes,
what did 2 mills do in that scenario?
2 mills, hold on, let me get my paper. So 2 mills, if the state passes theirs, would give you a surplus of $112,340.
Any cuts?
With what, how many mills?
2.
No, anything above, on that second scenario with 556,000, anything above 1.75 mils would be no additional cuts and would result in a surplus anywhere from 28,780 the whole way up to 820,826. But unfortunately, you'll have to pass your budget before the state passes theirs. So, but we wanted to present all of the information to you, so you can make decisions moving forward, because the decision you're making next Monday for this budget isn't just about this year. It's about where we're going and, where our priorities are. Are we going to have money to increase our curriculum budget like we need to for the steel standards that are coming up? Are we going to be able to take care of our 8 buildings across the district and all of the needs that they have? So it's not just a one budget thought, and that's how and why I tried to present it the way I did. Not to point out, things that haven't happened in the past, but I just think it's important to know where we've been, so we have good data to know where we need to go, and if we know where we're going, then we need to have a plan of how to get there.
All right, Rebecca, excellent job. I would go back one slide if I can.
Yeah. Do you have a question about that one?
I don't have a question. I have a task for the central admin team. This 423,826. Say this say this board passes. I'm going to use 3 just for simplicity. 3 is going to balance the budget. Okay. So 4.12 mils is a 423 surplus. What are we using it on? Okay. So if we sit there in front of our constituents, what are we using this money for? And the same thing with the $820-some thousand. Don't like that word surplus, because we're spending other people's money.
Right.
So if we had something to show them what it's going for,
Yes.
instead of saying, hey, we're just gonna sit on $500,000 of your dollars, you understand?
I do.
So we have to understand who the audience is besides the board.
Correct.
So please,
Yeah.
for next week, we need to know what you're spending this on.
Yeah. So
Right?
It won't even cover curriculum.
No, I'm just saying, I want
But the-
recommendations.
So a surplus
Well, 800 and
budget,
some thousands, that's almost $1 million in that other scenario.
okay, so a surplus budget is not done to spend more than what the expenses are. So the expenditure budget we're asking you to pass of the 71,635,881, that is the expenditure budget that we are asking authority for the board to vote on, meaning we will not and cannot spend more than that. So when you have.
No, I understand that. I get that. If we go above,
Well, if you go above, the way you handle that in the budget is you, as a board, say, okay, we can decide we're going to put 300,000 to.
but that's
capital
fine,
reserve.
but we need to let the taxpayers know
Oh, for
what
sure.
we would be using that money for.
Yeah,
I'm just saying,
And I would recommend-
if you would get the 4.12.
yeah, and I would also recommend a contingency, a budgetary reserve in the budget for expenditures.
We'll let you guys
that-
go to work at it and come back with
Yeah.
your numbers on what you would do with
And my
it.
last slide, can I do my very last one? I think it's cute and pretty.
Oh, jeez.
Well, there's 2 more, I'm sorry. What's next? Okay, so a surplus budget will position the district for future needs. Budget adoption next Monday, $11 monthly increase for the average taxpayer in Westmoreland County. Effective, efficient, quality education. Millage rate is currently the 7th lowest. I do know our neighbors around us are increasing to the index. I know a district in our neighboring that can't increase to the index, but they're going as high as they can. Franklin Regional is, Norwin is. A lot of districts around us are going to the index or close to it. So We're all in the same boat, all trying to do the same job for our students and our taxpayers. And then the very last page, thank you. Oh, you don't want to ruin it, then don't say it. No.
I don't wanna ruin your blog, but
Oh, okay, well, thank you.
but, again, your improvements, when can we put money aside for new capital improvements? That's not included all in here.
Called surplus.
That's the
I don't-
surplus.
Surplus.
I know,
Surplus.
but the surplus,
You would put that on a line item for transfer to capital reserve, and you as a board would then vote to leave it there and not touch it. And then the next time you have a vote on your budget, which is the next June, you would do the same thing again.
and it'll roll.
And then the
It
next,
would double.
it could, if you
Yeah,
leave it there.
it would double.
Yes. But the
And now,
board,
how would we word that this, for next week if we want to do
it
that?
would just be in the budget. You would advise me as a board as a whole to put that in the capital reserve.
Okay, it won't be earmarked for special vocabulary.
No,
Maybe that's one. They're the same?
you put it in there and you didn't touch it.
There was a meeting in here.
Mrs. Rodriguez, I'd like to thank you for a great presentation. Thank you for that. Gave us a lot to think about. And she did reference Dr. Nix and myself, but that also includes Dr. Kupastak and Mr. McCracken and Mr. Richards as well, because we supported it, everything that she said in the slideshow, and as well as the Mills recommendation. Terry?
Rebecca, I would,
Yeah, quite.
I've got a question.
I know.
Rebecca, there's a $400,000 difference between scenario 1 and scenario 2.
Yes,
Okay, in the adequacy fund.
correct.
So, and I know you said that we would not know the answer about it until the state passes their budget. But, I mean, I'm thinking, I'm sure it's not gonna be an all or nothing.
I don't know that because I'm not there.
Okay.
Did Brian give you
Yeah,
suggestions?
I was just gonna ask that.
No, Brian Russell has not given us any indication.
One way or the other.
One way or the
He
other.
hasn't given us the guarantee. It's just, he said he can at this point.
So,
Well, he can't give us a guarantee, but could he give us a feel? I mean,
I can
we're-
follow up with
On the
him.
one case, you're given a scenario of, deficit of 900 and that's assuming we get 0 for that.
right.
I mean, is that a reality?
I don't know because I'm not there and there's a lot of conversations happening and the fact that our representative can't give us that answer, it puts us in a bind. And that's why, but that's why we wanted to present you both scenarios so that you have the power to make that decision, but we can't even sit here and say, oh, yes, it's gonna happen, because then if it doesn't, you'll come back at us and be like, oh, well, it didn't happen, now where's that $400,000 and what are we gonna do? So, again, it's unfair that we have to pass ours before they pass ours. So we're almost in arrears a whole year when you're dealing with a budget, because you're going off of the revenues you received in the prior year from the state as your starting point. You can't go with the new monies, and I even put new monies in here for basic ed and special ed. You know, I went half of the new in there, plus we added all the new adequacy money that was our base. So, I mean, we put everything in we could that we know for certain is happening for our revenue piece.
So that $400,000, I mean, that's approximately $1.25 million or so.
Correct.
That's a big difference.
It is. But when you're considering curriculum, buildings, projects, and, you know, Mr. Petrucci wants to lock away $1 million for new builds, well, there's your 1.2 mils, and you assign it to capital reserve, and then it cannot be used for anything but paying bond, principal and interest, or being transferred by board vote, majority board vote, to capital projects to do an active project.
Rebecca,
It
can
can't
I
be
can I
used
get
on
clarification on that? Because there gets to be some confusion.
Yes, on what?
How many times do you have to sign that money?
What do you mean?
So if we would
Every
put
year.
1.12, okay, that's the answer, right?
In cap reserve, no, that's different. Your fund balance, which is your savings of what's left over at the end of the year per the audit, revenues over expenditures, liabilities, and assets. That fund balance, that is the assigned and unassigned piece of what's in your savings. When you put money, transfer money as a board into capital reserve, That is not your general fund, that is not your fund balance.
Okay, so let me.
It's a separate
okay,
checking
let me
account.
make it simple then. So next week, if the board decides to put 1 mil toward, future building projects, that means it's assigned one time and it never moves.
It's assigned that year, and then next year they'd have to, well, but it's in there. Do you
It
see
is,
what I'm
but
saying?
Anybody can move.
Okay, here's.
The money's
okay,
in there.
Based on what you just said, this is my advice to you and to future boards. You must do them the favor, if one of us, we've all done this in the past, we would say, I want a mill assigned for this, I want a mill assigned for that. Oh, yeah, great, it's in there. And then we would go back looking for it the next year,
It's gone.
poof, it's gone.
Yeah.
Please consult the board and say, listen, this mill is about to expire, you set it aside for this last year, I need to know if you want it set aside again this year. You just can't let it roll into the fund because you're gonna get confused boards for the next 30 years. You understand what I'm
I do,
saying?
and that's, I think, how I presented
Thank you
it
for
to
bringing
you
that,
with
because that's
the
exactly what's
capital
happening here. We're all
projects.
scratching our head looking for money that's just,
Signing money,
yep.
it just never stayed.
I think it's worth noting, before we move on, which I think we're all anxious to do, that $400,000 that we're looking for from the state, last year's state budget cost us about $100,000 because
In
of the
interest,
delay.
yes.
So the 400,000 really is 300,000, and you almost have to not count on it this year, but next year you'll know what you got last year. So the Harrisburg budgeting mess, from what I understand, is not any better this year than it was last year. So I wouldn't be prepared for a quick budget passage in Harrisburg. I'd be prepared for, we're not gonna get it until next year.
This is nothing new.
All right, we're gonna, good spirited
And
discussion, everybody.
just-
We're gonna move on to
Just
the
to
rest
end
of the
on
meeting.
one quick note, I have never asked you to go to the index before. You can look back, I've always asked you to go a little bit higher, but I have never said to the index. I am bringing that to you on behalf of my central office team. We have a lot of things we would like to do. I know we pride ourselves in being a low-cost per pupil spending, high-performing. It's getting harder and harder to be in high-performing school district and do the things we want at such a low cost. And I am just telling you that honestly, from someone who lives in this community, raised all of my kids, I've been here for 19 years, I love Penn Trafford, I love everything about it. But I am telling you honestly, it is getting extremely difficult with the amount of needs we have. And I am ending on that note.
All right, Matt, please continue on. I guess we're at the recognition of visitors. Nobody's signed up. So, Dr. Harris? Athletics and extracurricular.
Absolutely. Next week, under athletics and extracurricular, there will be no items to be on the agenda.
So the next one's mine. It's an action item.
Yes.
Budget and finance, Mr. Leonard, there is an item to,
Unless I misunderstood,
Address?
there's two. Correct me if I'm wrong. I think,
We pulled the board, so it should be.
There's two, A and B.
yeah, so I would like to make a motion to rescind McCullough Elementary School IFAS Masonry Restoration Project, PA number 025D-350922, which was approved on the March 2nd, 2026 regular board meeting.
Second. Question.
question being called for. This will be a roll call vote. All in favor of the motion, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried.
I make the following motion to approve, motion to approve the proposal dated 6/2/2026 from Tremco and Allegheny Restoration for the McCullough Elementary School IFAS. Oh, wait a minute.
No, didn't we just rescind that?
No. Part
The
B.
incurred cost.
Yeah,
Proposal.
okay, I see, we rolled the 31 in. We already owed that.
Yes.
My apologies.
No, it's
I'm
okay.
clear now. From Tremco and Allegheny Restoration for the McCullough Elementary School IFAS incurred cost and the Penn Middle IFAS and Masonry Restoration Project, and the optional alternative bids number 1, which is masonry waterproofing. Number 2, which is regular expansion joint repairs. Number 3 is to address some ADA compliance items to be paid for by the capital project fund. This project comes with a 10-year warranty.
And even on the ad alternates as well, Becky?
Yes, the 10-year warranty locks in with the base cost of 308 plus the alternate 1, and his motion is to approve 1, 2, and 3, and so the total cost would be
Well, yeah, I'm
three-
gonna read the costs, I'll
Okay.
break them down.
Sorry.
The cost will be McCullough PO, that's already an incurred cost, total cost $31,882.61. Penn Middle base bid, $277,107.84, total base cost $308,990.45. But now, the cost that I have, that we're actually gonna be incurring by this motion is $399,890.02, correct?
Yes.
Did I get that clear enough for everybody?
Yeah, but all three of the ad alternates give a 10-year warranty as well, correct? Including
It's the whole
masonry.
project. The 10-year is on the masonry, the whole envelope.
Sidewalks.
Yeah, as we discussed at earlier session, I asked our contractor numerous times that clearly he will stand behind this. If we approve it this way, for 10 years, will be his responsibility for 10 years for everything. I asked him that several times. So this motion should clarify that that's the way we're approving this.
Yeah.
And also, Rebecca, this money is under where we have budgeted too as well?
The capital projects in this current budget,
Correct.
25, 26.
Okay.
Mr. Leonard, I think there's one final sentence on there.
Yes, there is. Is there anything else before that will be the notification. This proposal falls under the Keystone Purchasing Network, KPN, Cooperative Purchasing Program, Contract AEP, Contract Number 021-D with a unique customer proposal number CPN for this project of BA number 025D-310803.
Second.
Question, I do have a question. If the building finance, or building committee decides to actually do some repairs on the McCullough, I would only ask that we can maybe negotiate with the contractor to help with the 31,000.
That, in addition, I think we've also discussed the fact that we're going to reach out to try to get some feedback, quotes, or some information regarding minimum repairs that McCullough will still need no matter what we do.
Right, okay, thank you.
I still want to reach out and do that.
All right, question being called for. This will be a roll call vote. All in favor of the motion, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Thank you, Mr. Leonard.
That's all I have, thank you.
All right,
Mr. Harris?
next week under, there's just only the, where's the shorts? Oh, I think this one, oh, sorry. All right, next week under, this is all the consent agenda, I'm sorry.
Page what?
No.
We're gonna ask you to adopt a school district budget, grant permission to advertise for bids, authorize payments for all the end of the year invoices, name banks as depositories, authorize payments for credits earned. We're gonna ask you to assign fund balance, approve compensation rates. Under buildings, grounds, and safety, we'll go to Mr. Nemec. Oh, I'm sorry.
Yep, that's fine. You already did it.
Okay.
Thank you, Dr. Harris. Motion to approve change order number 1 for project 200952 for Alloy Group for removal, disposal of an additional 6,490 square feet of asbestos-containing vinyl floor tile, double layered throughout the work area.
Second, that, I believe that's the kitchen area, right?
That's
Cafeteria,
the
yeah.
cafeteria
What's the
abatement,
total?
and I apologize, the total cost, is attached to the board docs, but it's $4,940 is the change order. You're welcome.
So I'll second that.
Question then.
Question being called for. This will be a roll call vote. All in favor of the motion, say aye.
Aye.
Motion carried.
Thank you. And under safety, we're also gonna ask you to approve the use of facilities agreement. Under employee relations, negotiations, transportations, there won't be any items. Under food service, we're gonna ask you to approve the breakfast and lunch price, approve milk prices. Under personnel and curriculum, we're gonna ask you to approve personnel agenda, approve tentative assignments. employ school physicians and dentists, accept and file tentative official ratings, extend supplemental contracts, authorize administration to fill vacancies, approve professional service agreements. Under Policy Public Relations Legislative Title II, we're gonna ask you to continue the roll call procedures, continue bond coverage, approve attendance at conventions, authorize the admin to submit federal program applications, adopt attachment of IDA B program narrative, appoint PSBA voting delegates. Under taxes, insurance, census, we're gonna ask you to set millage rate, adopt homestead and farmstead exclusion resolution, and adopt tax resolutions.
Well, you're gonna ask a lot next week.
We are gonna ask a lot.
Those are all pretty
Consent
standard.
agenda.
But if you will note, as our esteemed Dr. Harris said, one of the items in there was about fund balance changes. That's right in the prerogatives that are being set forth, but I believe they'll still come back to the board.
Thank you, everybody, for a great meeting. Can I have the motion to close the meeting?
Motion.
Meeting closed, 8:56.